see we got that little filler piece all welded up. We're at to widen this floor panel about 1/2 inch or so. So now that that's all welded and taken care of, I can come up and do this seam here, work it all the way around. That little gap, I may make a filler piece for, I may just try to bridge it. We'll see how it goes. It's a little wide to try to bridge with welding. Then up here, I made this little piece to fill that gap where I get happy with my cut. So we'll get that put in there and get this piece back here shaped and formed the way it's supposed to sit. And once that's all taken care of, I can weld a little patch up in here. That's for the flip forward seats in the older Blazers. Don't have that, so I don't have to worry about that hole. I can fix this spot here where the trans hump rotted out and come out, and cut the tacks, get my rocker panel out of there, trim everything up so it fits right, get it welded in and looking good. Do the inner rocker too, of course. Come around here, got to get this piece made and welded up. So we'll do that. Then once all that's taken care of, the front section of the floor is done. And the only thing left would be to fix this little hole in the cross member and then do the front section of the floor. I haven't ordered that panel yet, so I'm going to have to do that. Wait till it comes in and I'll get that taken care of. That'll be the last bit of welding to do, but after that's done, all of the welding is done, and then I can focus on, getting stuff like the rockers cleaned up, bondoed, painted. Be coming back here, put a little glazing putty on this kind of stuff where I had to do these spot welds for the rear supports, tailgate supports and all that. Get those smoothed up and painted. Yeah, and then we start putting the interior back together on this thing. Make it look like a truck again. A future video I have planned for you guys, it's not going to be too far in the future, will be basically restoring these door panels and doing some custom stuff to them. This section here where the original velour, whatever you want to call it, sat in, I'm going to be doing some upholstery work to that. Our Joanne fabric was going out of business and they had some stuff, some fabric dirt cheap. Want to paint these things with some USA 1 dye, get that upholstery done, get them cleaned up and looking good. So that video is going to be in the near future. Also, thankfully the original headliner backing is still there and in very good shape. So I'm gonna get that last little bit of old headliner out of the way. We're gonna do some upholstery work on the headliner. That'll be included in that video as well. Getting all these interior trim panels cleaned up, painted up. I'm going to have to make new panels for back here. That's all content that's coming in the near future. Getting this thing cleaned up and looking good. My USA 1 Industries paint going to be getting a workout because I have a cover lay cover for the dash pad. I want to show you guys the process of making these dashes look as close to new as possible without spending a ton of money. I'm thinking I may end up ordering a Auto Metal Direct gauge bezel, just because this one, it's old, raggedy, the stainless trim, whatever you want to call it, it's all broke up, just it looks bad. These things can only get cleaned up so much without spending hours taping it off and painting it, trying to make it pretty. So I think I'm just going to buy a new one like I did for my green C10. Yeah, to be continued. For now, we're going to get these floor pans finished up, get this rocker panel finished up, have ourselves a truck again. If y'all are looking forward to seeing the process of getting the interior put together, doing some restoration and customization on that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, please click that button. If you have any input or tips or tricks or anything regarding upholstery work, please drop a comment below, because I know next to nothing about upholstery work, and we bought a ton of extra fabric because, like I said, the Joann's fabric store was going out of business and it was as close to free as you could get buying the fabric. So we bought a ton of extra because I have a very strong feeling I'm going to be doing at least one repeat, repeating the process at least one time, doing some of this upholstery work. So if you have any tips or tricks on that, leave a comment below. If you have any input on doing the interior, I want to hear your thoughts. What kind of stuff do you like in your truck interior? Drop a comment below, tell me. But for now, we're going to get to work on finishing up the welding and body work on this thing. And I'm going to show you a little sponsor plug here, a little shout out. This YesWelder MIG 205 DS Pro has been running flawlessly. I'm so blown away by how well this welder is operating. It's like a $500 welder and it's running like a $2,000 welder. Over here you see half of these welds were done with my expensive welder and half of my welds were done with my YesWelder, and there's no difference. The MIG gun that they give you is super comfortable. The trigger response is nice. It's easy to hold. It's ergonomic. The ball socket in the end of the gun here, that is straight money, because typically you're fighting with the hose, trying to get different angles and such. You don't have that problem with this gun. The helmet, I cannot say enough good things about this YesWelder helmet. The wide field of view is amazing. It's comfortable, it fits well, it sits on your head and it stays. The view and the shade that it changes to while you're welding is very comfortable. It's easy on the eyes. No complaints. I'm super happy with the helmet and the welder. So if you want to get yourself started on something like this, maybe you have a father-son restoration project you want to dive into, check out YesWelder.com. Look at what they have to offer. Maybe you don't need the MIG 205 DS Pro 5-in-1. Maybe you just need a standalone MIG welder. If you're doing a project like this and you'll never weld again, you could get away with just a standalone MIG welder. They have those, so check them out. Go to their website, see what they have to offer. You will be happy with your purchase if you decide to get one, and you won't spend a lot of money doing it. And in this day and age, saving money is a great thing. So YesWelder helps you do that, but still getting your job done. YesWelder is going to help me get this job done. I'm going to finish this truck with the YesWelder, and I don't think I'm going to have a single issue doing it. So I do think I'm gonna take this little piece of scrap here and make a little filler for that, because I'm not too keen on how those welds turn out when you're trying to fill a gap. A professional would probably be able to do it much better than I can, but I'm not a professional. I don't like how much heat ends up going into the material when you're filling gaps like that. You end up burning through a lot and chasing your tail, and that's not what we're here for. So for a little bit of time that it would take just to make that little piece of patch, we'll do that so we end up with a better product in the end. So make that happen and finish getting this thing welded up. All right, for the most part, we got this welded up. Just got this little section here to finish up, but the big part of doing these projects is being prepared, and part of being prepared is having supplies and materials on hand to do what you're doing. And I was not prepared. I ran out of welding gas. I run C25, 75 argon, 25 CO2, whatever you want to call it. And we have a welding supply store around here called 3 Mules. They're awesome, great people there, awesome family that owns it. But they're a small local company. It's Memorial Day weekend. They are closed on Sundays. They're closed now, it's past noon. They close at 12 on Saturdays, and they're closed Monday. So it's not their fault. It's my fault for not being prepared. So I guess I got to run down to the local Ace Hardware and get some flux core wire so I can flux core my way through the rest of the day. But thankfully, the YesWelder can handle it. So we're gonna make that happen. All right, guys, so I just got back from the store. Got me a little 2-pound spool of flux core 030 wire. When you switch over to a little spool like this, just take that 13 millimeter nut off. Take this adapter off of there for a bigger spool, and just stick the spool straight onto the spindle. Put your spring and your nut back on there. Get your wire fed into the roller there, and of course power on your welder. Come over here 2 times on the gas button to switch it over to flux. Make sure your gas is off, even though in my case I don't have any gas. Got my MIG gun laid out. You're gonna push the inching button. That'll feed your spool. And you just hold the button down until it comes out. One thing that's super important to remember when you're going from gas MIG to flux core is you got to reverse the polarity. It's not going to weld too good if you're using flux core with a negative ground. So gotta just switch the polarity on this YesWelder. It's simple, pretty much, quarter turn, pop out, slide it in, another quarter turn, lock it. Same thing over here, quarter turn, half turn, I guess you could call it, lock it. You're set up, ready to go. Ready to do some flux core welding. All right, there you see we pretty much got it all welded up through here. I think it's probably fairly obvious where I switched to flux core after I ran out of argon. I will definitely say I'm not a professional welder by any stretch of the imagination, and the transition to flux core was not too kind to me. I adjusted my settings based on the chart that the welder provided, and like as soon as the wire would touch the metal, it would just blow a hole right through it. So I wound up having to turn the voltage and everything way down. These welds are extremely cold. Not a huge fan of that. I wound up going back over top of most of them after I put down basically the initial bead. I went back over top of most of them with the voltage turned up. Kind of did a cap on it with a little more voltage to kind of melt everything together with a little more heat. So don't think there'll be any problems, but I still was not a huge fan of that. But I was able to get this radius taken care of here between the patch panel and the original metal. Just took this dolly here, set it up in this little nook and bent the metal around it, and then so you put this sheet metal screw in there to set it where it's supposed to be. Did the same thing all the way through. It's kind of hard to tell, but that was that worked out pretty good. So now I can drill a bunch of holes through here. The factory had a ton of spot welds in these, so I'll take care of that, get a bunch of holes drilled and spot weld it to the cross member. Can still do this, but I am not going to do these rockers with the flux core because it's extremely sloppy, and I'm not blaming flux core welding. I'm not blaming a welder that I'm using. I'm not blaming anything but myself. I am not skilled enough to do well with flux core welding and butt welding thin, 18 gauge sheet metal. So I'm not going to do it to my rockers because that's going to make a lot more work for me. One, welding it together, but two, cleaning it up and making it look good. So I'm going to wait to do my rockers until I get my gas filled back up, change my tank, get my argon, so I can switch back to gas MIG. But like I said, I can still close this off, get this squared away. I'm not overly concerned about the floor stuff because that's going to get ground down to an acceptable level and topped with seam sealer, and then there'll be carpet over top of it, seats, blah blah blah. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. So you kind of get an idea of what I'm working with here. So we had this spot in the trans hump that was rotted out. It's not exactly uniform. There's some geometry involved, and I definitely failed high school geometry. So it's just trial and error. Put metal up there, bend it, see if it fits, and if it don't, knock it back flat and start over. But this is what we ended up with. you see it's a very shallow bend on this side, and it's a pretty long sweeping bend on this side. Then it comes back flat, and then I got it going up here. I'm gonna weld it to that spot up there on the trans hump, just to tie the whole thing in a little stronger, make it a little bit better than a butt weld. So if I could do this with one hand, that's questionable, but see, it fits in there pretty nicely. That top flange, I just bent it back farther than it needed to go to get it out of the way. I'll beat it up flat against that trans hump before I weld it in, of course. But yeah, overall turned out pretty good. I think it fits in there pretty well. Just have to trim it a little bit back here where it meets the floor pans, but it's there. It exists now and can be welded in. But that's for another day, because it's a little bit later than I'd like for it to be for how little, I guess you could say, I got done today. But that's on me. Ran out of argon, had to waste time going to the store, getting the welder set up. You know, when it was all said and done, it ended up adding several hours to the day that I hadn't really accounted for. So that's a reminder, be prepared, but that's all right. We'll be ready for the next one. Going to get this back section of floor pan ordered so that when I get back to work on this thing, I'll be able to completely button up the front floors, get the back floors completely finished up, and have the whole interior done welding, get the rocker panels taken care of, and move on to putting the interior together and doing that custom upholstery work. Remember, leave a comment if you got any tips for that, because I'm not an upholstery guy. So gonna get the garage cleaned up and closed up, go spend a little bit of time with my family. It's Memorial Day weekend, so we're gonna do a little bit of hanging out, spending time with each other. Thankful for the men and women who have sacrificed everything to give us the opportunity to do the things that we do every day. You know, we wouldn't be anywhere near the country that we are without everybody that made that sacrifice. So just remember, as you're enjoying this weekend, enjoying the day off on Monday, why we get to do that. So for now, if you enjoyed what you saw, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you got anything you want to talk about, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.